He died peacefully, right beside me. I watched him deteriorating, getting demolished right in front of me. Wow. I can't believe a year just elapsed without the love of my life. And the only reason I've made it this far is because I know how to stand by my man's grave and weep. I didn't give up when I thought it was gone. I didn't give up when I thought it was over. I was weeping, but I was still standing. I didn't pretend it was easy. I was weeping, but I was still standing. I'm the last person he saw, the last person he embraced, the last person he spoke to before he went into a coma for almost 6 days. But what gives me a great consolation is that he died peacefully. Thabang was such a peaceful soul, and it's indeed true when the Bible says you die the way you live. If you live by the sword, you're gonna die by the sword. You know, my man was of a pacific nature. Our relationship was like home. It was so peaceful. You know, like any other relationship would have disagreements, but we had a peaceful way of fixing our differences. And I was not surprised that even towards his last days, Babe would come here even when he couldn't walk properly. He'd come here limping because this place was safe for him. I remember last year, January, as I was preparing a smoothie towards, the end of January, I walked out. It's like we were very much connected with Mavuso. I'd feel his presence. And so something said to walk out. And then I saw him coming, He was so tired. And he just came in and said to me, "Sweetheart, I've been praying to God on the way that, Lord, only I can just arrive ho yena. And he arrived. I miss him so much. I honestly appreciate the fact that he spent his last days with me. I was there, right in front of him, and I saw everything unfolding until the very end. I thank God that as much as I have questions, but I saw what happened to my man. You know, if I was a Kalakun, you know how noisy a Kalakun is, babe was not gonna come here. A Kalakun is Turkey in English. He was so peaceful. Babe didn't love noise. And you know, the advice that I can give to a couple, you know, especially women, men don't love Kalakuns. Men don't love noisy women. You know, they like a place that is safe, where they feel safe. That's why sometimes some men will knock off and just go, you know, spend time with friends because their friends are safe. Men don't like noise. Yeah, I remember Mavuso in a peaceful way, in a happy way. God had sent me an angel. You know, a year later, I can proudly say I know what love is. That man really loved me. He treated me like his own soul. He loved me like his own daughter. Thabang was everything to me. He was a mother, a father, a brother, a sister. We shared everything together. I remember when I first pierced my ears during COVID in 2020. There was a load shedding, and so we were sitting, you know, eating in one plate. And I got surprised when he said to me, "Wow, you pierced your ears. I didn't think you could notice in such a dim light, you know, a dimmed light." He was so remarkable. He appreciated me in many ways. And then he even gave me a name. He said, "I'm Neo." And I'd always dispute the name and say, "Babe, you are a Mavu, so you must give me a Swazi name." And then he said he'd laugh. You know, he'd just rub it aside. But every time when I remind him, "Babe, you said you're going to give me a name," then he'd say, "Neo." And so, because he was saying I'm his gift, to be honest, he was a gift to me. When I thought I was unlovable, when I felt the sting of rejection, when I felt abandoned, God brought me Thabang as a gift. And he came and loved me in ways I never could have imagined. He thought I was a good egg, even though I'm slightly cracked. I will never be the same again. To whoever is watching, you bear with me. I don't have a speech prepared for today. I woke up, and I feel so much pain. I mean, so much pain. And I'm grateful to God for allowing me to taste of pure love. We laughed together, we cried together. We were just, a really beautiful couple with Mavuso. Yesterday I found some games in here he bought and probably wanted us to play. But I guess it is what it is. What's important is that he lived, and he allowed me also the opportunity to love him. We were so beautiful together. I had such a handsome man, tall, caramel, with an English nose. I remember this other time he came with a picture. He always sent me a picture, or he'd come with it here and show me and say, I want you to bear me this child. A really beautiful, dark child. He said, I know you can bear me this child. And then I was like, wait a minute. We can. Look at you. My man was so handsome, guys. When I met him, he had only a mustache. And I said, let's grow a beard. We were going to make beautiful kids. We're going to download them. I don't know where they are downloaded and how they are downloaded, but we were going to download beautiful kids. Whenever we were eating maybe burgers, he'd show the fries to me and say, I want you to have some cheeks. I want you to be fed. I want to play with your cheeks. Baby. And I'd say to him, who said I want to be fed? So I lost. I'm not an easy person to deal with. But, babe was a perfect fit, a perfect match for my personality. We both don't hold grudges. We don't get angry for long. We can fight now. And then he's going to come and say, what do you want to eat? Let's go and buy food. And we'd sit here and worship together. I remember immediately he left me. I was so allergic to music because music reminded me so much of Babe. He brought a collection here and we'd sit here and worship together. We had the same taste of music. This song that says, Abangcwele bayagulizwa izwi lecilongo. Babe would be sitting here and I'd be right behind him. And he'd be, shaking his head. He was a worshipper. I have lost a friend. And truly speaking, I don't think I can find somebody like Thabang. Yo, God, I have lost genuine, pure love. Somebody who'd walk in the rain, bringing me a hot porridge. Because he said, if I sit there and eat this porridge alone, what are you eating? Babe would say such. He'd walk at night with a plate of food and say, I didn't want to eat this alone, not knowing what you have eaten. He'd walk some mile and just to go buy me kota. Yeah, there is no man who can actually fit in his shoes. He left me a standard. And I was so shocked. Sometime last year, this other brother says to me, yazi Bhula mawusanda ukushonelwa yo bengikusaba mina. We are just not even a couple with the brother. I just know him. But he said he was scared of me because he thought now that I lost a partner, I'm weak, I might throw myself to him. And in my heart, I was like, are you Thabang? You are not even Thabang. You are not even close to being my man. What made you think I can throw myself to you? Not to be controversial, ne? But I've grown to realize that amadoda mostly ayazifonela. They are self-deceivers. Immediately I lost this man. I wished everybody could die. I hated men, even those that would just greet. And those that would hit on me, I'd think they are hitting on me because I lost my partner. So I'd cry. I didn't even want to see myself in front of a man. Even at this moment, I'm not dreaming of any relationship or any guy. My grief is not making me envy other people's partners. I want Thabang. If it were possible, I was going to bring him back. So it's going to be very difficult for me to finally say yes to another guy who is not Thabang. It's going to be very difficult. Thabang was my first love. Thabang is the guy I ever dated. It's not going to be easy. My heart still wants him. When I was growing as a quiet girl, very quiet and shy, I never dreamt of this. I never dreamt of me having to bury the love of my life. I shunned men, even those of highest statuses. My heart loved this one. After burying him, everything changed. Death will change you. I was not aware that I have certain qualities in me. I changed. I endured stones of criticism. But as I said, I do not pretend it was easy. I was weeping but still standing. When I look back, I don't even know how I made it this far. Grieving the love of my life was not easy. I was condemned. I was criticized. And I said, if my man was here, he was going to say, maybe it's time to leave. Babe always told me, don't stay in a church until they get used to you. He used to go to church, but there's certain things that Babe would honestly avoid. He'd tell me, Jesus was not spending that much time in the church like you guys do. You go to church in the morning and you come back very late in the afternoons. I don't dispute worshiping God. I'm not against God. But even Jesus never spent that much time. He'd just go there and preach and go back. But you stand outside, you take photos, you talk. That's where this lasts. The gossips, the hatred, the comparisons, competitions. That's where they emanate. So Babe would come to church, listen to the word, and go back. Yeah, so grieving him while surrounded by religious people was not easy. But I thank God of the family that He sent my way when my man was still in a coma. From that moment, I felt the warmth, the love. I remember the first day he was admitted. They came to fetch me at the hospital. Then we came here to fetch my clothes. Then went back to their home. And as I was sitting there, I overheard them say, You must give her these tablets. It were the sleeping pills because they could see I'm not coping, I'm not okay. To have someone walk in your shoes. Yeah, I was not alone. I was well taken care of. I remember the lady in the house would even bring me clothes, new clothing, even the dress I was wearing to my man's funeral. It was from her. She even took a day off at work to drive me to the funeral. Who does that? I remember this other time we were just sitting and then she brought her makeup kit and said, come sit here. And she turned me into a doll. Started putting makeup on my face. And she even taught me how to draw my eyebrows. Ever since that time, nobody is assisting me in this. I'm doing it on my own. All thanks to her. I don't know what God was trying to communicate, but I remember saying to Mavuso, there's this family that I need you to meet. Little did I know they are going to take me in after he died. He never got the opportunity to meet them. But they are the same family that took me in when he died. Honestly speaking, I'd be a hypocrite if I can claim to have made it this far through my own strength. I woke up this morning and I said on WhatsApp, God took us from each other's arms to his. Esandleni somusa. Tabang is right now in God's arms. I'm also in his arms. Esandleni somusa. Ngiyagcina noma bangathini. This is not my own doings. Well, this was my unique way of paying tribute to the love of my life, Mr. Mavuso. We had so many dreams. We had so many plans. From when we met in 2016 on the 20th of July, I became a new person. I realized there's nothing wrong with me. He gave me hope. He gave me my confidence back. Today, I can boldly say, I loved. I was loved. This man really loved me. I remember when COVID hit us unexpectedly and they said, where you sleep gonna determine your home for the next three months, because we were now being ushered into lockdown. You know, I was so worried. I thought my man was not gonna, be there. And when I saw him coming in, and then he risking everything, risking my home to be his home for the next 3 months. Yeah, I was so humbled. I spent most of my time alone. I'd spent most of my time alone. I was a loner. Nobody cared whether I ate, whether I'm alive. But he cared. He cared. Now he's gone. Even though I prayed, he still died. Not because I have bad luck, but because this world is not our home. The Lord had given, and he came back to take. I remember one preacher used to say, when people testify and say, I almost died, the question is, are you going to live forever? Okusalayo uzofa. My man didn't die because I wanted him to die. because I fantasized of burying him. I wanted us to grow old together. But I've learned that when God says it's time to come home, there is nothing we can do about it. We are not promised to live eternally on the earth. I will never be the same again. My advice to everyone, use your time wisely. I just want to advise a fellow by saying, live. Don't just exist. This life is a gift. Don't lose yourself in the process of trying to please other people. Know what you like and know what you don't like. Don't wear a dress to please the people you fellowship with. Don't eat food that you don't like to impress the people that surrounds you. You know, I'm sitting here paying tribute to my man dressed like this because that's exactly how he would want to see me. My man always told me, loosen up. Babe wouldn't want to see me grieving him, dressed like a 60-year-old woman. He always told me, loosen up. I remember when I first met him, he paid careful attention to how I dress. And this other time he said, so you're supposed to be wearing long dresses every day. It just didn't make sense to him. He taught me to be me. And I'm proudly me because of Umavuso. I will forever love you, babe.